where are these 2,000 homes that are being built that aren't on the MLS? These developers aren't even done developing. Look at this. These are not considered finished lots. On the data that we pulled, where there's over 10,000 vacant lots in the Treasure Valley that don't have permits on it, this doesn't even count for it. 500,000 for one single lot, one buildable lot. And that doesn't include construction costs, right? So now you add construction costs on that, whether it be $200 and $250 a square foot, you're sitting on over $1 million just to build a house. Many of you guys let us know that Travis at Real Estate Mindset
absolutely bonkers
was coming to Boise. So we reached out to him. We shot him a text, shot him an email, we called him, crickets. He came to Boise and he did a video, but he missed quite a bit of things. He did hit a lot of things, and I don't want to take away any of that credit. He could have had a better idea of things if he would have just picked up the phone when we called.
Ounce of inventory right now in the Boise area, and all three of those areas that have massive price cuts going on right now.
Of course, there's massive amount of inventory, a lot of price cuts coming on, and if you've been following our channel, you know that. The one thing I want to bring up is he goes to 3 areas that are on the outskirts of the Boise Metro instead of hitting the Boise Metro. If you want me and him to do a collab video, shoot him a message, shoot him a comment, put a comment down below.
Median sales price, Boise did peak in May of 2022 at $583,000. Now that's down right now a whopping $83,000 or 14.2%. Boise, from my definition of a bare minimum crash, is almost there.
He says 14% is a bare, almost at a crash. And I want to know, what do you guys think a crash is? Is it 10%, 15%, 25%? From the peak to the trough of here in the Treasure Valley, the median sales price was actually at the peak was in June of 22 at $592,000. And of course, unfortunately, Redfin doesn't have all the factors to consider there. And so they say 582, but it was really 592 in June of 2022. And then that dropped to 487, which was a $105,000 drop, or a 19% drop from peak to trough. Yes, of course, the prices did come up a little bit, and that's why he's saying $82,000 at a 14% drop. But I am curious to know what you guys think, because to me, 15% drop, 10% drop, I mean, that is significant, especially with when you think about all the homeowners that bought between 2021, 2022, 2023, and now they don't have any equity and they're upside down in their house unless they paid cash.
Now, a lot of people say they want to continue to deregulate new home construction, but I'm one of those people that's like, actually, let's regulate it more because it's needed. Now, that's the street back there.
If he's talking about regulating data for new home construction sales, I 100% am behind that. For instance, I'm gonna just jump into the MLS and I wanna show you something. If I were to go in and just search for residential new construction, what we're gonna see is there's not as many homes being shown as active as there are currently being built, which is really skewing the numbers. So I'm just gonna go single family to Ada County, Canyon County. We're no active. We're going to do year built of 2023. And what you're going to see is there's only about 1,081 homes listed on the MLS. But if we were to go to Land Pro Data and see a snapshot, just a snapshot of what is being built, like as far as development goes, what we're going to see is in Ada County alone for builders, there is right around 1,227 homes that have permits being built. And that's just Ada County. That's not even Canyon County on top of it. And so what you see is there's this huge amount of builders that currently have houses under construction that are not currently being listed. So I think there needs to be higher regulation, because why can a builder's agent hold all this inventory behind? If they're marketing it, maybe they need to make it known to the public instead of holding it and withdrawing it back from what's currently being on the market.
Hyper supply? I mean, where's the lack of inventory? Where's the buying demand at? Where's it at? Look at this. It's insane, that whole block going all the way down. Spec homes over there. Now I'm gonna walk up here and show you guys what's down this street. This is an area that I would be definitely paying attention to, because these are a lot nicer houses, and quite frankly, they got a lot more building to do to expand this out. Not too much, but a lot more definitely to sell. The amount of spec homes here, again, this is definitely the most spec homes so far that I've seen in Boise. Let me walk down here. You guys can kind of see the construction.
Travis, I don't mean to call you out, but I do mean to call you out. If you would have just responded, we could have shown you where there is more spec homes than the Heartland community that you went to. See, in North Meridian, it is booming right now with spec homes. As a matter of fact, we're gonna go boots on the ground here in a second and show you one of many subdivisions that there is massive amount of building, but yet no homes being moved into. And like he's saying, is these builders are competing against each other. And when this happens, and I want to give you guys a tip, if you're thinking about maybe buying a new construction home, is if there is multiple builders within a subdivision or within a tiny block of each other, what you can do is you can say, hey, so-and-so is offering a $20,000 incentive. What are you guys offering? If we buy one of their houses, they're going to cut the price by $35,000. Will you match it? Will you do something? That builder said, let me get back to you and we'll see what we can do. They ended up coming back and saying, okay, this is the best price we can do. They dropped the price substantially to match what the other builders were doing. And that's why you want to look at multiple areas and not just one community, maybe even using the builders. Because when the builders are building all these spec homes next to each other, this is just one of many subdivisions that we're going to hit to show you where the 2,000 homes that are permitted but are not listed on the MLS. These are spec homes. These are not pre-built. They're not under contract, but these are all spec homes. And then these are some of those vacant lots that have no permitting yet going on them. Right now, we've already driven past about 20 spec homes within a block. And that's not even including these ones that we're coming up on. So we have another one here, so that's 21, 22. And guys, they haven't stopped building yet. So there is all these homes that are not even listed on the MLS that are spec homes getting built as we speak. So now we're at 23, 24. And this is all within a block, guys, within a block of each other in the same subdivision with many, many more. 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32. We're talking about 32 homes within this community that are spec homes that haven't even sold yet. And so some of these are finished, ready to go. Like this is Tresidio. And if you watched our videos, you know that Tresidio, they have a lot of spec homes, and a lot of their listings are saying motivated seller because they are really trying to move their inventory. So they upped their 3-2-1 buy down from a 2-1 buy down that they're offering, which is right around $30,000. And some of these builders are even just willing to give you $20,000 or a $10,000 concession. This isn't even it. This is just the beginning of our boots on the ground. Where are these 2,000 homes that are being built that aren't on the MLS? We just left a community, and that community, the average list price on that community, I believe, is right around $625,000. But remember, our median household income is floating right around $72,000, and the median new construction sales price is $550,000. So that house is way over. But here behind me is a home that's been on the market for, I believe, over a year. We're going to double check that when we get back to the office, but it's been on over a year in a very nice community called The Keep. It's a spec home at $1.7 million. Now it's nice, don't get me wrong. The builder does a really good job, but guys, these builders are building spec homes over $1 million. And what do you think is going to happen? I mean, thankfully for this builder, a lot of this community is built out. If you look behind me, a lot of these homes have sold. They're sitting on half acres, but is it crazy to be building a spec home at $1.7 million? Let me know in the comments. Remember, we said 2,000 homes are permitted. There's over 10,000 lots here in the valley that are finished with no permit on them. And this is one of those communities that has many, 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 many lots that are developed that either the developer or the builder, depending on who owns these, is holding these costs, possibly paying interest on them, but they haven't even started. Now, all three of these communities that we looked at are in South Meridian and South Boise, are all within a mile of each other. So we haven't even seen the bulk of it. This is all within a mile of each other. That anywhere from $1.7 million spec home, $700,000 spec home. Now, when Travis was here, there was an inversion. And if you can, it's so hard to capture this through the lens of a camera, but you can see we do have a little bit of mountains. Up there is Bogus, is covered in snow. But I just wanted to show you some boots on the ground. This is South Meridian, South Boise. We're getting ready to hit North Meridian and North Nampa, where you're going to see even more spec homes than you have to this point. Right behind me is a $500,000 lot. Now, this lot obviously offers a very nice view. It overlooks, we have a golf course here. You have the mountains where Bogus Basin is. And then right underneath is going to be a bunch of townhomes that are being built that currently aren't built, but are developed. On a video we did probably a year ago, we talked about how developers stopped in the middle of a project. Well, that project is finally paved and looks like they're starting to build some houses. But this lot right here, $500,000 for one single lot, one buildable lot. And that doesn't include construction costs, right? So now you add construction costs on that. whether it be $200 and $250 a square foot, you're sitting on over $1 million just to build a house with a gorgeous view. I mean, I wouldn't mind taking this view and having that outside of my backyard. These communities are within a mile of each other. The keep that we went through, now those view lots, same size as these ones, they were going for around $200,000 pre-COVID, and now they're sitting at $500,000 for that lot. Some of those lots of a community that we didn't even go through, those lots, view lots, same size, were selling for $185,000. So there's been a massive increase, and I don't think it's sustainable. I don't think the price of the land is sustainable when you're talking about one buildable lot and you're still looking at $200 a square foot. But you guys let me know what you think. We're going to head to North Meridian, where you're going to see a lot more spec homes. But keep in mind, all of these communities that we just explored were within 1 mile of each other. And so these builders are going to, as the higher end builders get squeezed and dropping prices, then the lower end builders are going to have to follow suit. We just got hit with an inversion, but we're going to go through one of these communities that has a ton of spec homes, and we're in North Meridian, and this is just going to be one of many communities. And we're going to try to stay in these communities that are within a mile of each other so that you can see all the different types of spec homes that are being built in this area. Guys, this is spec home after spec home that's being built. This is insane. Some of these are sold, but a majority of these are available. They are available, but they're not listed unless you talk to the agent, or your agent actually calls the builder's agent and talks about what properties are available. You wouldn't even know that these are going to be listed. But these are many, many spec homes that are currently being under construction that the average Joe doesn't even know about. But look at this, guys. Like, it's insane. The average price of these homes out here that we're driving through are in the low to high 600,000. Some of them are even pushing over 700,000 for spec homes. Now, don't get me wrong, these houses are nice. We're talking, these homes are sitting anywhere from 1,800 to 3,000 square feet. So they are really nice. And we're talking about custom cabinets. You're talking about a higher level trim. You're also talking about quartz countertops. But look, here's foundations of houses that are getting ready to be built at also. And what you're going to see is on the other side of this road is these houses that are finished, they're still being listed. Some of them, yes, are sold. But when I'm talking about you have multiple builders in one community, so this is going to be different than a Hubble or a Hayden or a CBH. When you have multiple builders in one community and one builder's offering a $20,000 incentive, you go to that different builder in that same community if you like that house, and you say, hey, this builder's giving away $20,000. Will you match that $20,000, or what's the best you can do on it? So here's a couple more foundations that are getting ready to be poured. Now, this is a Brighton community, so this is some of those lots that either Brighton or the builder build team that they sell to, are going to be building on here shortly. These houses, the ones with the trash cans, are obviously sold, but this starting here are all spec homes that are on the market currently. Now, again, we're staying within a mile of that first community that we saw. So all of these homes right here are sitting around the $300,000 to the $400,000 price range, spec homes. But what you're going to see in this community is they haven't sold these ones, but then there is going to be a lot of spec homes that are currently being built, even though these haven't sold yet. And maybe this is why this is a CBH neighborhood. Maybe this is why CBH is offering up to $45,000 to get some of his inventory moved. Now, these are a bunch of vacant lots that are getting ready to be built. But then look at this. So down this street, you're going to see a bunch of foundations and framing. So even though he hasn't sold all those, he's building all of this. And that's probably why he's offering these holiday incentives of $25,000, $35,000, $45,000 if you were to buy one of his houses. But look at this. Boom, 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 boom. I think in this community alone, not including the spec homes that are currently in framing and not finished out yet, I believe there's probably at least 15 homes plus these spec homes that he's building. But remember, Corey Barton, based off of the Land Pro data, they have the most inventory of spec homes and the most inventory of vacant lots or developed lots. But look, let me just show you this. See all of those signs that say available, available, available? This whole street right there is full of available homes. But let me go a little bit further, and you're going to see those available signs going all the way down this now too. Now look at that. Here we go. Available. Look at all those red signs. Available, 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 available. A couple with sold signs. All of this inventory that you don't see on the market, well, here it comes to you. And that's not it. We're going to another community that has similar builders to the first one that we went through. All right, so now look at all of these, again, spec homes that are sitting on the market. You got one here. This one's sold. You have a couple vacant lots over here. Looks like Tresidio, so that's some of their lots they own. But then here's another spec home. Well, it looks like somebody fell for their 3-2-1 buy down and bought that house. You have another spec home, another foundation poured, another foundation poured, spec home, spec home. Another spec home. Straight ahead is a whole nother community that's getting ready to be finished. So look, this is a future phase of this community that's going to be built. But guys, these developers aren't even done developing. Look at this. This house, so these are not considered finished lots. On the data that we pulled, where there's over 10,000 vacant lots in the Treasure Valley that don't have permits on it, this doesn't even count for it, because the vacant lots don't count until there's roads, there's sidewalks, and everything's recorded at the county. So this one still, even though this has roads in it, these are lots that aren't even being recorded as the data that we've shared with you yet. Now the average price in here, you're sitting anywhere between it's ranging right around the $500,000 price range for homes in here. So a little bit more affordable. But guys, think about this. Think about the effect that this is having. These homes, same builders, they're smaller lots, but they're offering them around $500,000, and not even a half a mile away, they're offering the same quality of house on maybe a little bit bigger lot, and they're sitting around the $600,000 price range. So how do you think, I want you guys to answer, how do you think this is going to affect the overall state of the building, right? Is all of these different spec homes, how long are these builders going to hold these prices before they're going to offer higher incentives than the $30,000 or $10,000 to compete with one another? I mean, they're literally competing against each other. Well, let's get back to the regular video and jump in to the rest of the data.
Where the jobs are, it looks like all agriculture, all farmland. So this may be an area where it was banking on migration. Now that migration is leaving the city, this could be a community that's in a significant amount of distress.
Travis nailed it on the head. There is a lot of new construction jobs. There's a lot of ag jobs. Now, yes, we do have Micron here. We do have some HP here. We do have some tech where people can work remotely that are working here. So I don't want to overlook that. For the most part, a majority of our economy is based off of that. Now, there is an article that just came out, and I feel like it's important for me to bring up and share it with you, because this is part of the migration of the people that came here. So this article put together by Daily Mail, they were just talking about how these Idaho residents are getting upset with the California migration. What's going on is California cops and firefighters are flocking, and this article is talking about how they flock to Eagle. So they're coming with pensions of $123,000 a year, and they're moving to Idaho. So they have a California pension, retired here in the Eagle area, and that is also what's boosting up. So the migration is a huge factor, but the migration is definitely slowing down.
This place also stinks. Not sure why it's ringing a memory.
I had to bring this up because it is funny, because yes, there are parts of the Treasure Valley that stink. We have a sugar beet factory that makes the area around it stink. We have many dairy farms where it smells. I mean, really, Kuna, Idaho, has a dairy farm right next to the high school. And if you're not careful where you buy there, you're going to have, again, mind you, there are flies that follow these dairy farms. And if you have a white house, you're going to have a bunch of black dots around your house. And guys, these black dots are not dust spectacles. No, these are fly poop, because there's so many flies around these dairy farms.
Of the three areas, if it's me, I'm going to be keeping my eye on Napa area, because the Napa area had actually beautiful houses, absolutely stunning houses. Again, though, I don't know who can afford them, which is why I think the prices are going to go down even more. But of the areas, I would say Star's probably going to be maybe the less impacted because it's a slightly more affordable housing. I think Napa's going to get hit probably the hardest because the price point is just so out of reach for normal people. Again, just really surprised how it's nothing like Denver, nothing like Salt Lake City. It really feels like it is in the middle of nowhere, and that basically it's being propped up by migration.
100%, it's been propped up by migration, and it is in the middle of nowhere. So if you are watching this video and you're not from this area, well, maybe, just maybe, Idaho's not for you. I'm just kidding now, but I'm kind of serious because we have just overgrown, and definitely the locals are upset with all the migration that's going on. It does feel like it's in the middle of nowhere. There's a lot of nice things, and unfortunately when Travis came into this video, I believe it was the first time we had snow and we had a massive inversion, so he couldn't see the ski resorts. He couldn't see where you can go fishing in quite a bit of the areas around the Greenbelt and in the different lakes. So let's look at the current data as far as what builders are sitting on what inventory. Because although there's only 1,000 homes listed on the MLS, of new construction, what you're going to see is there's a lot more than just 1,000 homes that are currently being built in the Treasure Valley. So let's jump into the data from November of 2023, and we'll compare that to just July. So we'll see the differences it had in just a matter of 6 months. So currently in the Treasure Valley, there's around 1,900 homes, 1,975 homes that are currently being permitted and being built. If we were to compare that to July of 2023, so we're talking about what is that 6-month difference? 6 months ago, there was only 1,227 homes. So all of a sudden, there was a massive jump in builders saying, hey, interest rates are cutting, Fed's pivoting, let's pull out all these permits. And now, if the market continues to go on this downward trend, there's going to be about 1,900 homes that could currently be in trouble if the market continues to crash. How does that look for vacant lot inventory? So right now, who has the most inventory that they're sitting on? And we're going to kind of break this down, and we got to look at, okay, we're going to look at big builders, big companies, and then we also got to look at the smaller companies. So right now, this is just the top chart. So Corey Barton is currently sitting on 1,500 vacant lots. So these are lots that don't have permits, and he's pulled 546 lots. So he has a lot of new construction inventory that's being built. Toll Brothers is sitting on 718 vacant lots with no permits, and they have about 125 homes currently being built. Brighton Development is sitting on 223 lots with 122 permits being built. So they are sitting on a lot of inventory. I mean, when you add up the vacant lots and the permits for Brighton Development, they're sitting on 345 properties. But let's go away from the bigger companies like Corey Barton, Toll Brothers, Brighton, and let's look at maybe a smaller like Tresidio. So TH Holdings of 2022, they have 134 lots. Now this specific builder, in a lot of their listings, they're saying motivated seller, needs to sell, make this offer, we'll offer you the 3-2-1 buy down, which roughly costs you around $30,000. They have 51 vacant homes. Out of all of these, the top chart, other than the big builders, they have the most amount of permits pulled on properties. So they could potentially be the ones that you can negotiate the best on, or they're just they have their high prices too high and they can't move the inventory, because that's 185 between vacant properties and properties that they're currently being built. But now let's break it down by area. Travis at Real Estate Mindset said that the highest, most likely that's going to get hit is Nampa and Caldwell. So let's see the change between the Caldwell and Nampa subdivision development. In 2022, they developed around 660 residential lots, and that dropped in 2023 to 287. So they had a big drop of lot supply. But what's very interesting is that new home permits issued surged to 589, which is substantially higher than what it was a year ago at 382. So the builders there are pulling more permits and building more out there. But what's interesting is that the new home transfers, or people who have bought these new homes, they have stayed steady. So the permits being pulled have increased substantially, but yet the new home transfers have not followed that. So there's a good chance that Caldwell could have even more of a correction. Now in Nampa, Nampa had just kind of a steady stream of new residential lots, and the building permits increased just a little bit. But the new home transfers, this is what's interesting, the new home transfers declined to 489 compared to the 640 in 2022. So the new home transfers, the buyer demand is dropping, even though new construction is really the main bulk of the residential home sales in Canyon County. It's dropped 150 new home transfers. It's dropped 150 new home transfers compared to the same time last year. So if this drop continues, this buyer demand continues to drop, then so too will the home prices